All right. That makes it official. That is the beginning music, which starts our journey into the paranormal portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, as you may very well be aware. And if not, I'm just introducing myself to you in case this is your first time in the door. And thank you so much for joining us. As always, hope you guys are having a wonderful week. It's the midweek. It's the hump day. It's on the way to the weekend. So I guess things are looking up. Hopefully they're looking up for you. I'll tell you what, I can't complain really, but I feel bad because I've been just surrounded by some really bad events. None happening to me direct. Well, one happening to me today. I mean, it's just a glitchy, stupid thing, but I've heard several bad things that have happened to people that I know. And it really breaks my heart. I don't mean to laugh about that. It's just like, God, I hope everybody is going to be okay. But just several people I know have contacted me in the last couple of days, just telling me these horrible things that are going on. And it's like, wow, my heart really goes out to them. Of course, my prayers and everything, and all of you, if anything is going on in your world and you feel like life is hammering you, of course, my love and prayers to you as well. I never like to hear things going hard for anybody, of course, but the one thing that happened to me directly, directly, was today. And that was, I've got this patio furniture, this table and an umbrella, and I set it up because it's been getting nice and I love sitting out there and, with bare feet in the grass and stuff. It just, I don't know, it's kind of like my happy place, right? So the umbrella was open and we were all inside, and suddenly a gust of wind came up and it literally flipped my table over with the umbrella through the middle and shattered the glass. So I got to spend a good portion of this afternoon out in the yard with my shop vac, vacuuming glass shards out of my grass because I got a dog and two cats, and I don't need that problem. And God, I never want them to get hurt, but it's like, oh God, just a kind of I mean, it was a little gusty, but I didn't think it was that gusty. But then a big gust came up and just changed the game in a hurry. So So that was the one thing that happened. But just so you know, I don't know if there's something in the ethers right now where people are dealing with stuff. I mean, it's not terrible, Rachel. I mean, it's just stuff, right? My heart goes out to those people that are directly affected and dealing with things personally, not my stupid table. I mean, yeah, it sucks, but it's just a table. But my heart goes out to everybody. I don't know. Any of you guys are into astrology or whatever, you'll have to let me know. Is there something going on? I mean, usually this kind of stuff seems to happen. At least I become aware of it when Mercury's in retrograde, which is like every other week. I mean, that freaking planet's always in retrograde, I guess. And I don't pretend to know much about that, but I just know that I wear tiger's eye now because of Mercury retrogrades, because I got sick of dealing with them personally, and it seems to help. I don't know what it is. Tiger's eye is supposed to be a ward against that, and I guess, it's done unto you as you believe, right? So I guess it helps. So, hello, Blondes and Booze. I was watching a little bit of your show earlier. You had quite the crew on there, Krista. Wonderful to see you guys, and I wanted to jump in the chat. I just didn't have time, but I did spend a few minutes watching you guys. Hello, Vince, and hello, Sharon. I saw your name popping up. I think that's a new name, Sharon Sunshine. At least it's a new name. I don't know if you've rebranded an old name and you've always been here, but if not, welcome. And if it is a rebrand, welcome to you all. I love having you guys here, and thank you so much for being part of my journey. As always, Glass Shop will get you a piece. Okay, I'll tell you what, Smooth Landon. Here's the second part of the story. You're right. I was like, well, God, somebody must cut glass for these things, right? Well, they do. Now, the thing is, I bought that table set on a clearance at a hardware store here, and it was like It was like a $200 set with table and chairs and everything, and cushions on the chairs and little pillows for the chairs, and they're all metal and not like cheap. I bought the whole set for like $75, and I'm looking up the glass prices to get that replaced, and they're looking like about $250. So it's like, that's not happening. So I don't know if anybody knows of a cheaper way of replacing that glass. Email me, paranormalportalradio@gmail.com, if you find a good, reputable supplier that can send me a replacement glass for that. That would be awesome, because I love sitting out at that table. In fact, we usually do dinners throughout the summer and warm months out there, and now now it's going to be tray tables or something. So yeah, let me know if you guys find something. Yard sale, yeah, maybe. But then you usually get somebody's very used stuff. I mean, there's some good deals at yard sales and some real treasures, but generally people don't take real good care of their stuff. Not that I'm an ace at it, but I do try to take care of what's ours. So replace with wood. I did think about that. I thought about getting a thin piece of plywood and maybe putting tile over the top of it. I don't know. I mean, it would lose that translucent charm, but maybe it would be a little more festive and heavy with some tile on it. I don't know. Just some thoughts. But anyway, guys, I don't mean the show to be about my table, but I wonder if, are you guys noticing that things seem to be happening to people right now? Like, people are going through some real crap, and let me know, because it's just come. I mean, it's like at least three people that have approached me now in some manner or another, and told me about the horrible things they're dealing with. And it's like, oh, good God. So I don't know, but let me know. Things are happening. Smooth Landing says, okay, gotcha. Yes, crap. Yep. Maggie says, okay. Yeah, well, I guess maybe there's a biorhythm of the earth, right? Like, this is just a time of trials, I guess, but so far so good, knock on wood. So far, it hasn't hit me directly, other than my table. But again, that's just stuff. It certainly is a disappointment, but it's just stuff. So anyway, hold on. I got a cough. There we go. Got better. So this is Wednesday night. It's hump day, of course, and we're going to be going through stuff. Oh, Krista, rolling in with some gifted subs, gifted memberships. Thank you so much. Blondes and Booze Paranormal gifted 5 memberships, ladies and gentlemen. And Jesse Wilkins of our very own Hometown Ghost Stories buddies is here. Good to see you, Jesse. You are now a member. Eddie Petch got a membership, as did CRF 1000L Aus. I guess that's Australia. You got a membership. Barry Beezer got one, and Judy got one. So congratulations to you people. And special thank you, Krista. I really appreciate that. That's so sweet. I really appreciate it. Hold on, got to do it again. I actually used my inhaler a little bit ago, so it's going to be kind of a gurgly night probably as things get loosened up. That's springtime fun. All right, so as always, we're going to be hitting the news here pretty quick. I've got some news articles to get through. I actually got a lot of them, and I'm kind of not sure which ones we're going to read, because I'm excited to read a bunch of them, but I know I got to stretch it out for a whole week of shows. So we'll cover a few of them tonight, and then we're going to hit some other articles, some pretty interesting stuff that I think you guys will enjoy. I'm actually working on a new segment for these live shows, and I started working on it today. I'm really kind of excited about it, and I shouldn't probably play or build too much suspense yet, because I don't know when I'm actually going to be able to roll it all out. But I'm really excited to do it as just a cute little segment to do in these live streams. And it's going to remind some of you of something, but we'll wait and see if you recognize where it's from. At least the theme, the concept of it is not mine, but I'm bastardizing somebody else's concept and going to be using it for the show. So it should be pretty fun. Anyway, but hello to all of you guys. Thank you so much. Rockin' Rory. That's a new name. Good to see you. Thank you so much for coming in and checking out the show. Rockin' Rory. But anyway, I don't know. I can't think of anything else that I got to lead in with, but it's Wednesday. We got 2 full hours commercial free, unless I got to use a bathroom, then I'll create a commercial. But otherwise, we will just be nailing it. So let's get to it. Judy, hello from Texas. Oh, very cool. Well, welcome, Judy. We always like people from Texas coming. Of course, Tex Wesson of Texas Front Porch is my regular Saturday co-host on the shows. So if you come on Saturdays, you can hang out with a fellow Texan here on the portal and many others. Oh, God. Did you hear that? It just came up out as one. It was like... I went full Sith there for a second, but I got better. All right. Tejas. All right, that's it. Let's get to some news and find out just what the hell's going on in the world, because there's a lot. You guys been checking out all those earthquakes, by the way? Seems to be a lot of seismic things going on as well. So I don't know what's going on. It's like there's really something going on in the planet right now. Like planet-wide. It's not just geopolitical, international relations kind of stuff, but it's seismic. It's, all kinds of weirdness. And then, again, these problems that have been hitting my door. And it's like, wow, this is really crazy. So, again, my heart and love go out to all of you. Anybody who's dealing with a hard time right now, just know that I love you and it's going to get better. And hang in there and, keep the faith. Keep the faith. All right. Let's get to the news, ladies and gentlemen. Find out what is the news tonight. It's time for the news. All right, Paranormal Portal podcast. This is actually, Jason, this isn't the podcast. These are the live streams. Live streams and the podcast are generally two different shows. This is more of a variety show dealing with all kinds of different paranormal stuff. And the podcasts are generally interview based. But usually if I do just cover the paranormal, just generally speaking, I'll pick a topic unless it's a guest, and then they'll just share their stories. So, don't apologize. I just wanted to clarify because you're not alone in that. A lot of people say, "Oh, I saw the podcast the other night when you were live," and it's like, "Oh, that's not the podcast." The podcast is available everywhere. If you're not familiar with it, the Paranormal Portal is not only here on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook Live, and X and Twitch, but it is also a podcast, and that is available on all the podcast platforms as well. So all kinds of fun going on here. No worries, Jason. Just really thankful you're coming in, brother. Thank you. Happy Dog Ladies here. Good to see you. I nearly left YouTube. Sorry about my post disappearing. Oh, it's okay. Glad you didn't. Glad you're back. Thank you for coming back here as well. Lenda's here. Good to see you. Vincent Sanchez is here. Wizard Moon. There's too many to say hello to now. I should have done it right off the bat, but just know I've seen you all and love you bunches. So this is the news desk for the Paranormal Portal, ladies and gentlemen, where we cover news items. Hey, Chucky, good to see you. I will say hello when I see the names pop up that I know I haven't acknowledged yet. But the news is sometimes paranormal, and sometimes it's just unusual. Sometimes it's hilariously weird stuff, and sometimes it's just interesting. So I hope you guys enjoy this segment. I've loved doing the news for the last several years here on the show, and especially since I have this amazing site with which to do the news. And this site is called unexplained-mysteries.com. Now, throughout the course of the show, I utilize a lot of different sites. You're going to see me pull from articles from many different online forums. And please support these sites. Please give them your love. We utilize Phantoms and Monsters, which is Lon Strickler's site. We utilize SasquatchChronicles.com, which is Wes's site. We utilize Unexplained-Mysteries, Thought Catalog, and any number of other amazing locations that are posting just incredible articles. So please give these places your love. Please give them your traffic, because your traffic does help keep the lights on these different sites. And just support them. All right. So the first article I thought was pretty interesting because, everybody's been talking about AI a lot lately. Of course, it's everywhere. It's in your phone. It's on your Twitter X account. It's, every application now has an AI. I use Gemini for the show promos, which is Google's AI, to create those images and stuff. And it's obviously been the stuff of a lot of fear and trepidation, because what does it mean? What about when it gets smarter than us and decides that we're a problem? Of course, that's always the nightmare scenario. But there's some pretty exciting, cool things coming that are more than just writing, clickbaity articles and theses for college classes and etc. T-Bone gifted some memberships. Wow, you guys are bringing the rain tonight. Thank you, T-Bone. And Sharon Sunshine got one right in the door and got a membership. Dolphin Senpai got one. Neen got one. Patrick Barron got one. And Grace got one. Well, congratulations, all 5 of you. Thank you, T-Bone, for making it happen. I really appreciate it. So, what the hell was I saying? Oh, AI. So there's some things that AI is doing which are really exciting and really helping to move the needle in a lot of different fields. And one of them is linguistics. I just saw this article. I'm like, ooh, this could be cool, because this would be an amazing breakthrough, I think. But here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the article. And let me get rid of the third. No. Not that. Where the hell is it? Where is it? I don't even know where it is now. Damn it. Is it that one? Nope, that's not it. I don't know where it is. Damn it. Okay, well, we'll leave it up there. I was going to try to get rid of this camera over here. I guess I can get rid of that at least. This is an article from unexplained-mysteries.com, ladies and gentlemen. And this one looks pretty cool. It's from unexplained-mysteries.com. New AI model could make it possible for us to talk to dolphins. Now, everybody knows that dolphins are largely considered one of the most intelligent species on the planet, somewhere in the line of our intelligence, maybe. Like their brains are like equally as big as ours, and God only knows what they're thinking. And it's probably more than, hey, mackerel, it's probably more than food, much like my dog, who seems to mostly think about what she's going to be able to eat. But dolphins could possibly be, having some profound intelligence, maybe even wisdom. So let's check this article out. It says Google is developing a new AI model in an attempt to understand and replicate dolphin whistles and clicks. The ability to have a conversation with a dolphin might seem like something out of a comic book, but thanks to the advent of artificial intelligence, it might not be long before we can do this for real. Google, in collaboration with the Wild Dolphin Project, is currently working on a new AI model called Dolphin Gemma that could one day make it possible to translate dolphin sounds. The search giant has been training the AI using sounds from the Wild Dolphin Project's acoustic archive. We still don't actually know if dolphin sounds form words or sentences as we know them, so translating their vocalizations is certainly not going to be easy. If at all possible, however, then the new AI could eventually make it possible to translate what dolphins are saying and respond to them in their own language. Google has ensured that the model can run on relatively low-spec hardware, meaning that it can be loaded onto mobile devices for use in the field. You can check out the video of the Dolphin Project below. You watch, they'll spend millions and millions of dollars, and the first thing will come back from the dolphins and say, hey, pick up your crap. What are you doing? Go pick up your barrels and garbage. It's probably something like that. Or hey, get off my lawn, I'm going to put a copy to this article. I'm going to copy this link to the chat, and you guys can check it out. I think this is really cool. I think it would be phenomenal if AI could be utilized to help crack those mysteries. What if we could learn to communicate? Obviously, there's the esoteric, shamanistic ideas of, telepathy and communicating with animals and the wildlife around us. And I'm not saying that that's not a real thing too, but for those of us who aren't so esoterically minded or gifted as it may be, maybe the AI can do it for us, and that'd be kind of cool. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just, your cats, I mean, generally when you're a pet owner, you kind of know what your cats are thinking, or your dogs, or even animals, whatever. You kind of get an idea for their emotional states and their need cycles, and when they're giving you hints about something like, hey, I really got to take a dump, let's go. Like my dog will just look at me sideways like, get up, what are you doing? And it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I got to get up. So, yeah, get off my reef. You're right, Rock and Rory. So can't see all the scrolling. What is scrolling? What is scrolling, Happy Dog Lady? I'm sorry. Oh, the chat, you mean? Yeah, it's going fast, I'm sure. But I think this stuff is kind of exciting because, again, what if dolphins have this incredibly robust, profound language? What if they are out there just talking philosophy? And I don't know, maybe they're the only other species that, well, I can't say this for sure. I think some primates do this too, but I think that dolphins are one of the only other species that like fornicate for pleasure. Like they just get bored and they just decide to hit it, And I guess that's, it's more than just, the yearly procreation cycle. And I guess that would denote intelligence. I guess they are also they might be the only species or one of the only species that can self delete. Like they can just choose, if they're bummed and depressed, they can just choose not to go grab air and to just have it be over. And that's pretty profound and not, I think it speaks to the mental depth of these creatures, that they can have those kind of dilemmas and ideas. So I don't know. What do you think? They do stuff to get high too. Yeah, you're right, Annie. That's right. I did read about that. Doesn't it something to do with sea cucumbers or something like that? Like they do something like as if they're hitting the bong. Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Karen Alberding says, I can tell when my cats are mad at us about something. They pee on the bed. Oh no. Cat pee is like the worst thing in the world. It's such a pungent, horrible thing, and it's so hard to get out. Especially a mattress. What is a mattress? It's a big freaking sponge. And if the bed gets wet, especially by cat pee, it's going deep. You're going to be scrubbing at that for a while. Jeez. You might want to get one of those bed pads. Maybe you have one, and that's good, I guess, because it would hit the pad and that would be it. But so anyway, dolphins. Maybe we'll know what they're saying, folks. That's in the news. Did you know that before today? If not, you're welcome. Let's get to the next one. This one is, I don't know where this is coming from, but apparently, obviously, there's a big controversy about them. They're potentially being a city or a civilization beneath the pyramids. And it's probably not still occupied, but, something might be down there, way down there. And it's been quite the controversy, but here's another take on it from April 15th, yesterday. And this is, again, unexplained-mysteries.com. The Garden of Eden lies beneath the Great Pyramid of Giza, engineer claims. How can you make that kind of an assertion? I don't know. Let's see what it says. Yeah, it's not too long. It says Dr. Konstantin Borisov believes that he has pinpointed the whereabouts of Adam and Eve's biblical paradise. The precise location of the Garden of Eden, if it ever actually existed at all, continues to remain a topic of debate and intrigue among historians and religious scholars. Clues as to its alleged whereabouts can be found in the Bible, which references 4 rivers flowing from it, Pishon, Gihon, Tigris, and the Euphrates, as well as the land of Cush, now Ethiopia. And this has led to the general consensus that the Garden of Eden was situated in Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, though not everyone is convinced by this interpretation. New computer engineering and member of our forum, Dr. Konstantin Borisov, has published a new study in which he contends, rather controversially, that the Garden of Eden is not in Mesopotamia at all, but is in fact the site of the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt. His research involved combining mythological symbolism with geographical analysis of the region. Examining a map from around 500 BCE, before Common Era, I guess, it becomes, I just wish it went back to AD and BC, Anno Domini and BC, that's fine. But this BCE, whatever. Anyway, it becomes evident that the only four rivers emerging from the surrounding oceans, are the Nile, the Tigris, the Euphrates, and the Indus, he wrote. It's clear that the pyramid itself resembles the sacred tree of life. What? Really? I don't know how that is. But Dr. Borisov's conclusions have certainly generated some heated debate, although there's still nothing definitive to link the Great Pyramid of Giza with the biblical paradise. All things considered, we'll probably never know if there's any truth to this theory or not. Yeah, I mean, that's, you might as well say that, that Superman is from the pyramids. I don't know. I mean, where do they come up with stuff like this? Granted, okay, so there is biblical geographical landmarks, but who knows how long ago this was? If it wasn't just an allegory, if it was a real thing, then who knows when this was? How long ago was it? And what has happened to transform the world since that time? I mean, there's old oceans that used to exist where like Montana and Utah are now, and probably where I am now actually too. It's the world transforms and changes. So I don't know how he came to this conclusion. Again, I don't know. It's out of my pay grade. I find it an interesting but bizarre thing to proclaim. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that Eden is just sitting underneath the pyramids? Just tell me what you think if you want. I'd love to hear your feedback. Leave a comment if you're watching when it's not live. Let me know. Do you think that Eden is actually the cradle of all civilization? That is the birthplace for all human beings? I don't know. I think they're much, much older than we've been led to believe by a long, long, long shot. But is it like divine construction? I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what to say. It's a bizarre claim. And then, of course, there's it's an allegory. It's not really a place. It's more of a thing and an idea, and it's a story meant to teach us about, following the way. This is the way. All right. Well, anyway, that's the second article. I don't know. I hope you guys find that interesting. I thought it was unique, I guess. But we're going to head to some Bigfoot stuff now from the news. We don't hit a lot of Bigfoot stuff in the news, but I found something for you today. And here we go from unexplained-mysteries.com. Mystery surrounds trail of Bigfoot tracks left in deep snow in Maine. This is from the 14th of April, so it's pretty new. All right, let's check it out. A short video clip shows a series of large footprints indicating a stride much greater than that of any human. In a report submitted to the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, BFRO, the witness, who hails from the Wells area of York County in Maine, found the tracks in the woods behind their home back in February. There had been heavy snow and wind beforehand, and the snowfall was thick on the ground. The tracks themselves were around 7 to 8 feet apart and continued for quite some distance. Due to the size of the tracks and the large spacing between them, they were very clearly not human. The witness noted that it took him 2 full strides to cover the distance from one print to the next. So does that imply then that it was probably moving, like it was cruising, or just that it was so big that the stride is double ours? And I guess, if something's 9 or 10 feet tall or more or less, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 feet, then it's going to have a huge freaking stride. And then you bear into the idea that it's also snow. So like a normal person's stride in the summertime is going to be much shorter in the winter when you've got to lift your foot up out of the snow and then back into it. So you don't get that long stride like you do in the warmer months. So anyway, so it says, could these be the tracks of Bigfoot or something else? One interesting suggestion was that the prints could have been made by a bobcat or a lynx that had been bounding through the snow, landing each time with all 4 paws together. You can check out the video of the tracks below. Who or what do you think created them? Yeah, that's interesting. And foxes do that as well. They'll kind of bound and bound and, trying to chase maybe some kind of a mouse, shrew, rabbit, whatever. They're trying to shake it out of their hiding underneath the snow. So I don't know. I mean, that's probably just as possible. I haven't seen the tracks, but I think we'll take a look at it. Hold on. Since this is the news, this is Matt Moneymaker's YouTube channel. God, he only has 4.77 thousand subscribers. Come on, Matt. You've been at this way too long to be sitting that low. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but this is Matt Moneymaker. I mean, my God, he should be sitting in the 100,000s range. But anyway, let's check out a little bit of this. I don't know what we're going to see. I got to be careful for music as well, so just bear in mind. Let's check it out, though. Oh. Well, that does look... I'm going to not use the sound because that's really loud and obnoxious. Those are not really new, though, are they? God, that is a spread, though. I don't know. That is pretty peculiar, folks. It does resemble what a big footprint would look like in snow. There's always a couple of considerations when you're looking at tracks in the snow. And one of which, now obviously the stride length on this is profound. Like it's very far apart one to the next one. But one thing you have to consider is that when a track is in the snow, if it warms up at all, that track is going to expand because of the melting. Now, that doesn't account for the stride length between steps, but sometimes people see these tracks and they're like, oh my God, it had to be 18 inches long. But yeah, but it's been melting for 3 days. So that track might have been a size 10 shoe and it became 18 inches long just from melting. And so that is a consideration. But the stride length on these is really profound. So I don't know. I don't think, what the hell are those smaller tracks? Is that his? Is he saying something? I'm not sure what happened there because they got a lot smaller. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Could that have been Bigfoot tracks? You be the judge. I'm going to put a link to this as well in the chat so you guys can check it out. If you want to rewatch that video, blow it up, have a better look at it, please do. And if you want to weigh in on what you think that is, that would be wonderful. Got Car Juice and Barbara Mora and Big D over in Rumble. Good to see you guys. And so it's in the chats now. If you want to check out that article, please feel free. I think we're going to do one more here. And by God, let me do this first. There we go. Just a whole lot of me first. And then we'll do the next article. What was this one? Oh, yeah, this was it. So I think most people are probably familiar with the idea that there's a lot of speculation that the site of Noah's Ark hitting land is in Turkey. And there's a formation on top of, I think it's Mount Ararat, but I might be wrong. That really does look like what a big ark would look like, I would think. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what a cubit is and all that measurements, but it's pretty huge. But anyway, there is apparently plans to excavate it. So let's get to this article and find out more. Here we go from unexplained-mysteries.com. Researchers are planning to excavate rumored site of Noah's Ark. And there's the image. It really does look like what I suppose a fossilized boat would look like if it landed on Mount Ararat, if that's really the mountain. I'm not sure. Again, names. It's my kryptonite names. So let's check it out. Turkey's Durupinar Formation is believed by many to be the petrified remains of Noah's biblical vessel. Yeah, it's not too long. Situated approximately 3 kilometers north of the Iranian border and around 6,500 feet above sea level, the site for years had been hailed by some as the final resting place of the Ark itself, could soon be the center of a significant new archaeological excavation. Researchers from California-based firm Noah's Ark Scans, boy, they must have stayed up all night coming up with that name, are hoping to prove once and for all that the Durupinar formation really is the biblical vessel built by Noah at the time of the Old Testament. Well, it wasn't at the time of the Old Testament. It was written about in the Old Testament. It's not like they were reporting the news live and wrote it down into the books. But anyway, the location lies at in an active earth flow with harsh winters, so protecting the area is our top priority, researcher Andrew Jones told The Sun. Over the next few years, our Turkish university partners will conduct non-destructive tests like soil sampling, radar scans, and other methods to determine if the structures we've detected are truly man-made or simply natural formations. Only after we gather enough evidence and have a proper preservation plan in place will we consider excavating. Some experts are already convinced that the site really is the petrified remains of the Ark. Earlier this year, a new study found evidence to link the formation to the story of Noah in the form of clues indicating that the entire region was underwater at the time of the biblical Great Flood. 30 samples of soil and rock from the site were analyzed and determined to contain clay-like materials, marine deposits, and even traces of small shellfish dating back around 3.5 to 5,000 years. Our studies show that the region harbored life in that period and that at some point it was covered in water, which reinforces the possibility that a catastrophic event of great magnitude occurred, the international team of researchers wrote at the time. As things stand, however, there is still no smoking gun confirming this is really Noah's Ark. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, it looks like a boat, right? That's what I would expect. If a boat landed and rotted away and just was kind of left an impression, that's kind of what I would expect. But that doesn't mean it's what it is, but it certainly is pretty curious. So I guess time will tell. You'll have to let me know in the comments, eh? It is Ararat, Barbara Moore? Okay. There's also some ancient wood found on Mount Ararat that scientists say may also be the Ark. Kind of cool either way. Yeah. That is cool, Barbara. Thank you. So many formations around that are contenders, Smooth Landon says. Just ask natives out west and look into concrete ships. There's a few spots over near Turkey that look similar. Oh, okay. Yeah, that could be. I'm really never speaking from any kind of authority when I'm talking to you about this stuff. I don't know. It's anybody's guess. Could be. I mean, it'd be kind of neat if they found it, and then it'd be like, oh well, yeah, that's not just an allegory too, folks. Maybe there's something to it. It's hard to know, but I guess it's a matter of faith, I guess is the best way to say it. But I think that's exciting stuff. So there you have it. This has been the news. I hope you guys found value and merit in all of this. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And by all means, we'll continue the news on Friday and Saturday shows respectively. And so keep that in mind. There's always more. So we'll get back to it next show, but that's going to wrap up the news for tonight. So I don't know about you, but I think we got to get back to the rest of the show. All right, here we go. Poncho says, science and religion have never lied to us. What could go wrong? Well, there is that. Maggie says, I think it was a long while ago. I was gardening whilst listening to ITM. What's ITM? I don't know what that means. Faith among many faiths. Yes, Karen Alberding. Absolutely. Poncho starts singing George Michael. You got to have faith, faith, faith. All right. Well, I'm glad you like the news, Maggie. Thank you so much. John Stevenson said it's the only news he trusts. So we got to keep him going. All right. Just looking at the chat here, see if I've missed anything. BJ Lapierre is here. Good to see you, BJ. Thank you for coming in. Tattoo Alley 2 came in. Good to see you as well. And Nathan from the Quantum Show popped in. Good to see you. Just got here. Well, it's okay, Nate. You know, it's okay to be a little behind. That's all right. No permission slips needed for that. It's life. Life happens. So, yeah, that was the news. I like doing the news. I think it's kind of fun to cover a lot of different stories. And there was a Bigfoot story, and there's it's not totally without paranormal merit, right? We just cover all kinds of strangeness. That's what we love. News is great. Thank you, Bill. Bill Simone's over in YouTube as well. Anybody over on Facebook tonight? I haven't seen any Facebook popping up. I hope it's working. I don't ever have a chance to check, but I'm just going to scroll way up and see if anything's popping up with a blue Facebook mark. No, I don't see it. I don't see it. Nothing on my screen anyway. So if you're over in the Poncho Zorch says face butt. I think it's called a head butt. What's a face butt? What's going on? I don't even know what that means for sure. Thanks, Brent. Love the news. You're welcome, Carjuice. I appreciate that you love the news. Thank you. Thanks for just being here. Thanks for being here. But let's get to the rest of the show. I'm saying a lot of ums here, but I'm just trying to think. Where am I? What am I doing? Who am I? What's my motivation? Oh yeah, here we are. That was that one. I want to cover this one first though. There's a couple thought catalog articles I wanted to touch on tonight. This first one is kind of a creepy one. I don't know how you guys feel, but I think yeah, that's right, T-Bone. That's a great thing to point out. I will be on Spaced Out Radio tomorrow night, folks. I'm going to be hanging out with Dave Scott and hopefully representing the portal well. I don't know. I've never been over on that show before, but Dave seems like an excellent guy, and I'm looking forward to it. He's been at this a long time and seems like an exceptional man, so it'll be fun to talk to Dave and I don't know. I guess share some of my stories. I don't know if I of course I've done a lot of interviews and I kind of worry. It's like, because so many people have heard my stories, it's like, well, I'm going to sound like I only have this to talk about. The thing is that I have had so many experiences, but I don't remember. I'm forgetting them as the years go. And there's been some incredible ones that I'll remember from time to time, but you know, I don't know. I hope they enjoy having me on the show. That's the big thing. Like when I go on these shows, anybody's show, if they got 10 listeners or if they've got 500, I just want to represent myself in the Paranormal Portal well. So hopefully it'll go well. I'm sure, Dave will make it easy for me. So where do we find it, Brent? Well, you can go to Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel and it'll be on there tomorrow night. I don't know. Dave's on like every night, isn't he? Experiences never get old, T-Bone says. Well, there you go. But I'll be on there, so I hope you guys will check it out. What is that? Rachel, is that their page? Or is that the page for the show that I'm going to be on? Oh, that's the Spaced Out Radio link. Thank you. Thank you, Rachel. There you go. So if you want to check it out, bookmark that page and check back tomorrow. Ooh, all of a sudden I'm just getting warm. I'm just getting steamy. Ooh. It is on 7 days a week. Okay, thank you, T-Bone. I wonder if I can take off this sweater without showing you nipples or anything. I'm going to try. I'm going to try because I'm just suddenly roasting. I got my Paranormal Portal hoodie on here, and I was chilly earlier, but all of a sudden it's like a heat wave hit me. So I'm going to try to get this out without flashing you in my nipples. If I can work this out. We'll see. It's so dumb. Let's do this. Not one super chat. Whatever, dudes. Come on. No, I'm just kidding. I managed to do it. I got my Sasquatch Chronicles shirt on here, sporting the Chronicles as well as the Portal. So there you go. It's not that kind of show. Are you sure? Are you sure? With the right donation, it could be. I'm just kidding. There you go. I don't know. I'm an idiot. I have a microphone. You get the full effect. So, what do we do? What do we do? Wes is going to be so proud that I'm sporting his gear, I'm sure. Ooh, thank you, Maggie. She gave us a peach emoji. Thank you very much. All right, there were some hearts for your strip show. Wow, thank you, BJ. I appreciate it. I need your hearts. I need your love, because love is what makes the world go around. So, all right, let's get to this article. This is an article I found that I thought was really cool, because I love these stories of kids. You know, I think I like that it's somebody else's kids, but I think I would feel really like ripped off if it was my own kid that had these past life recall, because it wouldn't feel like it was just my child. It would feel like it was somebody else's kid that's, you know, in my kid's body. But these stories are absolutely fascinating, with these people coming back with very clear recall of the past life experiences, potentially past life experiences. Now, that's not the only explanation. It could be some kind of psychic event. They just pick up on an energy. It could be, you know, some sensitivity where they're able to feel these events and experience it like they're their own. I mean, those are all possibilities. But it's also possible that we don't just go around one. We don't just go around one time. Maybe we make several laps at this with different circumstances and stuff. And I don't know. Believe what you want. I'm not subscribing, telling you to subscribe to any belief, but those ideas are certainly out there. But I think it's fascinating with these kids come back with information of their past journey, of their past life, and are able to speak to events that happened. And in this case, a murder. So let's check it out. This is coming from a wonderful site that you all know and love, because we cover several articles through the years from this site. It is thoughtcatalog.com. And this article, I don't know, let me see if I hope I turned everything off from the last show. We'll find out. Yes. Okay, here it is. This is the article. It's from Thought Catalog. I got to kind of draw it down here a little bit. There we go. And here's the article. It's written by one of my favorite authors from Thought Catalog, and this is Chrissy Stockton. But it's a 3-year-old boy remembered being murdered in his last life, correctly points to where his body was buried. What? That's pretty wild, right? So let's see what he says. What she says, actually. Chrissy Stockton has done a fantastic job with several articles, and we've covered a few of them through the years. And a lot of them are Reddit scrape articles, but it's a very short article, but I wanted to touch on this because I thought it was really fascinating. This was actually updated 1 month ago 2 months ago now, but it's February 27th, or month and a few days, weeks, whatever. There are a lot of stories about kids telling their parents about what happened in their last lives, but this boy's story is on another level. So here we go. Let's check it out. This is from the Epoch Times, apparently reported this story. A 3-year-old boy in the Golan Heights region near the border of Syria and Israel said he was murdered with an axe in his previous life. He showed village elders where the murderer buried his body, and sure enough, they found a man's skeleton there. He also showed the elders where the murder weapon was found, and upon digging, they did indeed find an axe there. The story was witnessed by a doctor, Dr. Eli Lash, and documented by a German therapist, Trutz Hardow, who wrote about it, among other stories, in his book, Children Who Have Lived Before Reincarnation Today. More eerily, this boy was born with a birthmark that may be where his fatal injury was. And that's a fascinating concept. And it is that perhaps some children's birthmarks are a manner of manifestation, a physical manifestation of where they received a fatal wound in their last life. And I don't know what you think of that, but it is interesting how these birthmarks are there. They can be incredibly profound, and then usually pretty rapidly they fade to nothing, like they were just there for a while. And the minion, he's got one that's right under his left rib cage, right there, as if it's right below his bottom rib, or maybe in between the bottom two ribs or whatever. But it's like he took a wound there, and it's almost faded to near invisibility now. But it used to be a really bright spot, and I always wondered that, because I've certainly covered that through the shows. Could that be where my child was, experienced in a past life? So anyway, let's keep going. It says, he was born with a long red birthmark on his head. The Druze believe, as some other cultures do, that birthmarks are related to past life deaths. When the boy was old enough to talk, he told his family he had been killed by a blow to the head with an axe. The boy was also able to give the name of his killer. The accused denied involvement, but later admitted guilt to Dr. Lash after the boy found both his own body and the murder weapon. Karma? Coincidence? Either way, it's pretty creepy. It really is, but it's also pretty amazing. And there's Chrissy Stockton there. So, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Let's do Tom Rickles over there in the Facebook. It's said fears are caused from past lives. Yeah, like phobias. You're right, Tom. There's a lot of people that are claustrophobic, and some of them attribute that to being buried alive, perhaps, or something like that, like they were trapped in a confined space and it was the end of their life. But you're right. Yeah, phobias certainly could be a manifestation of a past life fear. You're right. Let's do a chat poll right now. Number one, you believe that it's possible that these children have lived past lives and come back with that knowledge. Or 0, you don't think it's possible and you think it's a bunch of hooey. So what do you think? 1 or 0 in the chat right now. What do you think? Let me know. First in comes Annie Manul, and she says 1, definitely. Okay. Happy Dog Ladies 1, Wizard Moon 1, Maggie 1, Karen Alberding, Phil Funk, Kitty Cattywack, Smooth Landon. A lot of 1s. You guys are just flooding the 1s. Okay. All right. How about over in Rumble too? Barbara, Carjuice, Big D, let me know. 3 maybe. Oh, Sharon. Tom says 1. Yeah, I think there's merit to these. I think there's really merit to these. There's stories, ladies and gentlemen, of there's this one girl. She was just a child, but she had talked to her mom over and over, and I think she lived in India, but and this was a very, very well studied case by psychologists or whatever. And the girl told stories about her past life and who she was and where she lived, and she talked her parents into like getting help or whatever. Maybe not getting help, but just she told so many stories that the parents were like kind of disturbed and reached out for help. And so it was carefully studied. And then they ended up taking this young girl, this like 3-4-year-old girl, or maybe 5-6 by this time, I don't know. But they took her back to the village that she claimed to be from and met her old family. And it said she recognized them on sight with their names and everything. She knew where she lived. She told stories about the whole area that they were going through, different things that happened in different places, and they were all checked out, and it was very true. Very true. So Barbara Moore says 1, yes, and Big D says 1. Okay, very cool. No vote from Car Juice, but that's okay. Not everybody needs to vote. I'm just curious. Bill Simone says 1, yes, okay. Brent, I was ready this time with the 1 or 0 poll instead of the 1 or 2. Yeah, sorry, I don't know. I just go binary with it. 1, yes, 0, off or no. Yeah. So I'm a binary kind of guy, I guess. But anyway, I think there's merit to this. I think it's a very profound possibility. Again, I don't know that it's necessarily that these are the memories they brought back with them. Maybe maybe they're just extraordinarily gifted or sensitive and have picked up these things, and maybe it's by virtue of a restless spirit finding the child and telling them the story, and the child believes it's their own story. I don't know. I mean, I don't know all of the things that might be at work here, but it is certainly possible. And I think it's really cool. I see highly impressionable child. Did I misspell gullible? Why not? I've known since I was young who I was before in a past life and what happened in her life. And my past name was Maisie Johnson. Oh, very cool. That's very cool. Yeah. So, wasn't suspect family wealthy? Sad for real parents then. Evil. I don't know. That's a good question, Tattoo Alley. I think, I think I've heard rumblings of this story before, and I think it had to do with land. Like, they were trying to force this person to sell their land or to, to give it up or to abandon it or whatever. And this person said no. And that was why the guy got an axe and went after him. I have heard something of this story, I think. So I think you're right. I think that is the more in-depth the backstory to this. But in any case, it's still horrible. But it's really cool if they got justice finally. That's amazing. But there you go. That's the first one. I just thought it was cool. Even if you don't believe in it, it is a great conversation. Yeah, for sure. Sharon, it's okay. It's fascinating too, for sure. Well, I haven't researched like most of you have. That's why I can't give a positive or a negative answer. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and no, it's fair enough. And there's no right or wrong answers. Obviously, we just don't know, but I'm just curious. What do you guys think? I like the idea that there's a lot of different opinions in our audience. I don't want a monoculture of thought here. I don't want everybody to be like, yes, 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 yes. Everything is real because, we talk about it on the show. I love the idea that you guys challenge some of these ideas and that you have opposing ideas. And that's why I love the question of the week segment that we do on Saturdays, because I get to hear where you guys are at with a lot of this stuff. And largely a lot of the ideas are in line with each other, but there's some that are just on a whole different place, and that's cool. They all make us think, and I think that that's what's cool. Girl in India, past life. Oh, yeah. Okay, maybe that was what it was. I think with this one, though, this was a story like that, though, too. I don't know. I guess with all the people in India, you're probably going to run into this more often just because there's so many. Like your music talent, Brent. Oh, thanks. Thanks, man. Yeah, any music you hear on the Paranormal Portal is things I've written. But, yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. You want to hear another music talent, you got to check out Jesse Wilkins of Hometown Ghost Stories. He and his brother Seth have done some incredible stuff. And I don't know if Jesse's still in here or not, but yeah, definitely check out his music. And Jesse and I wrote a piece of music together, and it's actually the song that closes every episode of the podcast. So if you listen to the podcast on any of the platforms, that's a song that Jesse and I wrote together. I wrote the core melody, and Jesse just put it on steroids and knocked it out of the park. It's really cool. He's a very talented musician, so a lot of fun to work with him. I'm trying to work with another song, but I've haven't got my music studio all put together yet. I've just, ever since I had to take days away to set this all up and get it going, and still working on getting things worked out, I haven't had time to throw at the music studio part of it yet. But anyway, yeah, another side thing, I guess. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, Jaren, is that you, Jaren? Or is this Roman? Which one is it on Supernatural Station? Maggie, exactly like the wrists. Sorry, I'm just reading pieces of chat. Jaren, what about people who have head injuries that wake up knowing previously unknown languages fluently? You know, Maggie, there's also cases of hypnosis and, of course, demonic possession, where people will begin speaking languages they never could know, including ancient dead languages. It is both happens in hypnosis as well as demonic possession or spiritual issues of some kind. So, yeah, anyway. So, very cool. Very cool. All right, let's get to another article that we're going to hit here on the show. And this one's also from Thought Catalog. And it kind of goes in line with the last one we read. So I saw this one. I went, ooh, this is the next one. Again, Rachel had sent us an incredible article that was night shift people talking about creepy experiences they've had. Well, I found another one that deals with just nurses. And yeah, let's see. Let's close that out. Let's get this one up. Here we go. This one is also from Thought Catalog, as I said, and it's written by Eric Redding. He's another one that does an incredible job over there. I remember Thought Catalog used to have a ton of these kind of articles. They don't have as many anymore, but there's still these articles. This one was from 2022, so it was last updated in 2022. So it's a few years old, but again, this stuff is always evergreen. Paranormal never goes out of date. It's always in season. So here we go. This is the next article we're going to cover, and this is 49 real nurses share the terrifying hospital ghost stories that scared them to death. Here you go. Now, many times throughout the history of the show, we've talked about this, but in the spirit of absolute redundancy, I'm going to repeat it. Hospitals are just one of those places that are bound to attract spiritual energies. Oh my God. There's so much going on there. There's agony, there's pain, there's sadness, there's grief, there's joy, there's every polar or every polarity of emotion is off the charts in hospitals. They see everything from the extraordinarily good to the horribly sad and tragic. And so those imprints have to be so profound that I think if there are, whether it's actually the people that live these dramas that linger, or if it's other things that come in and linger because of those impressions, there are those people that say, there are some entities that like to feed on the pain and the sorrow and the sadness. And so they would be drawn there. But certainly hospitals would be one of those locations that if you ever wanted to create a haunting, just go to a hospital, because there's got to be enough energy there to do it. But let's check this out and see what these stories are like. Yeah, Tattoo Alley says, yep, just like battlefields and other tragic places. Sure. Yeah, it's much more terror and agony and pain and fear in battlefields, but certainly enough energy to generate a lot of activity. All right, here we go. Let's get into this. I'm going to read the article here. The first one is called The Vanishing Girl. I think I'm going to blow this up a little bit. Is it already blowed up? Nope. It's going to be blowed up, though. Aha, it's my size now. This is my font size. The Vanishing Girl. Plus, it makes it easier for you guys to see. I was a new nurse at our hospital and only been working there a couple of months. I brought a patient of mine up to day surgery from the ER for an endoscopy, and they called back down and asked me to bring her family up because she only spoke Italian and not enough English, and they needed someone to consent for the procedures. After dropping them off, I walked past the waiting room to head back down the hall to the elevators. Well, I took the back way to get to the ER, and the hallways are all deserted. It used to be a pediatric wing of the hospital, but that's all shut down for years, and the rooms are just empty and full of broken equipment and beds and crap. Well, as I reached the old nurses' station at the T-junction between the pediatric hallway and in the hallway that goes to the elevators, I saw a little girl standing across from the nurses' station farther down the hall. Well, she had big pigtails, was wearing a brown dress, white shoes, and holding a teddy bear. I thought perhaps she was a family member who had walked away from the day surgery waiting room. I was concerned that she would go into one of the rooms and get hurt or even lost, so I said, "Hey, little girl, what are you doing? You don't need to be over there. You're going to get hurt." And I walked around the nursing station to go grab her hand and bring her back. I kid you not, she vanished. As I got about 15 feet away from her, and then every hair on my body stood up straight, and I turned and ran like a bat out of hell down to the elevator. I pounded that button for what seemed like an eternity until the elevator got to the floor, and as I got back to the AR, I walked up to the nurse's desk, white as a sheet, and one of the older nurses looked at me and said, "Jesus Christ, what's wrong with you?" I remember babbling like an idiot as I tried to tell them what had happened. Well, after listening to me for a moment or two, the nurse said, "Oh, you saw the little girl ghost. She's been around here for years." And I remember saying, "Well, thanks for telling me about this before this." Apparently the ghost has even been seen down in the ER, ducking in and out of patient rooms and peeking around curtains. My wife worked up on the 7th floor, and she said that one time on nights, a whole row of patient rooms started yelling about a little girl that was running around in the rooms. Well, I guess she gets around. Yeah, how about that? And God, that's one of those situations. It's like, it's really a heartbreaker to think that there's this little girl spirit, a little child spirit just wandering around. And again, I have a lot of problems with that idea because I just don't understand how that could be possible. But I've heard from many that it is possible, and I don't doubt that perhaps it is. It's just hard to wrap my head around because, I do believe in a divine being, a loving creator. And I being a parent know how precious my children are to me, and that I wouldn't just, oh, well, I don't know where the kids are, but let's head on vacation. I just wouldn't do that. I couldn't do that. But nobody should be able to do that. But for some reason, these kids' spirits get abandoned. And I don't understand that. That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't reconcile. Now, what does make sense to me, obviously, is the fact that maybe they're not kid spirits at all. Maybe they're something else that looks like a kid. And again, I've said this many times on the show. I'll say it again because that's just what I do. But I do think that if it is a dark, twisted entity, the one thing it wants to do is lower your resistance. Get you to open yourself up to it. And I think that any normal, well-adjusted person is going to look at a child in crisis and want to help. Because it's in our nature. It's kind of coded into us. Oh my God, child, here, I'll help. Whatever you need, I'm going to make it better. And it's a kind of a human reaction. And certainly by doing that, then if it is something that isn't really a little girl, you just opened yourself wide up for something. So I don't know. I'm not saying it's impossible that it could be little kid spirits. I just think that doesn't seem as likely to me and seems like it's maybe something else looking like a kid spirit just to get you to open up. But anyway, Tattoo Alley says, not a child spirit, maybe a goat kind of kid spirit. Yeah, maybe. Could be. But anyway, that's the first story. Excellent story. Fantastic. Wow. Let's go to number 2. Like the dead are leaving the hospital. That's a hell of a header. Let's see what it says. I work in intensive care in a small community hospital. I think it's missing the word in, We have a 9-bed unit that is completely closed off from the medical floor via 2 doorways. 2 nights ago, we're all sitting at our station charting when we all heard footsteps coming down the hall. It's a completely open unit where you can see every room from everywhere. No one was in the unit with us. CT is below us. I'm not sure what CT is. And they close at 5 unless an emergency comes in. I'm just trying to think of what CT could be. Anybody knows, let me know. Anybody with some nursing background. What is CT? Unless an emergency comes in. And we only have people on the 2nd floor. The 3rd floor is used as storage, so no one was above us. It happened 2 or 3 times. Then last night, cupboard doors kept opening and shutting in the 2 empty rooms. And I finally asked my coworker what the hell was going on. And she just told me it usually happens after someone passes, especially if it was sudden. Well, we had 2 codes last week, and we lost, and I guess everyone has had weird stuff happening for a couple of days. CT, scanning room, CT scan. Oh, CAT scan, okay. Gotcha. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Cardio trauma, Tom Rickles says. Okay. Well, that could be, too. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. All right, well, there you go. That's pretty wild. So apparently when somebody passes, it just kind of riles things up. I was like, rails things up? What the hell does that mean? Sometimes I invent language, ladies and gentlemen. All right, number 3, the man with the striped shirt. This is not my story, but a fellow nurse of mine, and we were talking about patients' hallucinations. When he told me about this time he was walking past a patient's room. An elderly woman with dementia, and she was chatting up a storm with someone. And he asked her who she was talking to, and the woman replied, "That nice man in the black and white striped suit." A while later, he went into another patient's room with dementia, and that different patient asked where the man with the striped shirt had gone. Ooh. That's a little creepy. All right, well, I guess someone was visiting. I guess they have rounds too, these spiritual things. Doing the rounds. All right, number 4, don't let them take me. Oh, that sounds horrible. This sounds like a horrible one. I'm just going to say it right off the bat. The best I have heard is from a nurse who said that one night she was floated to oncology at the hospital she used to work at. She was given a patient who was passing away and had been unconscious for several days. At one point during the night, the nurse went into the room, and the patient was at the top of the bed and looked at her and said, "Don't let them take me." Well, the nurse was freaked out and asked who was going to take her, and she said that black thing up there and pointed in the air. This patient died within minutes. Oh man. So that's one of those things that just be a good person. Try to be a good person as much as you can. Do the best job you can, because someday the curtain's going to fall. It's like, God, it's like that movie Ghost when that dick died. And those shadows started stretching out, or the guy the murderer guy died first, and the shadows stretched out and they're all screeching like, and they're coming for him, and it's like, yeah, you're screwed. And I'm laughing, but it's like, it's a nervous laugh, because that would just be horrible. So be a good person, because all this stuff doesn't matter. When you get to that last finishing line, you better be right. You better be in a good place. All right, number 5, an unexplained black shape. One night I was caring for a dying male patient. He was scared, and I spent quite some time with him, just trying to calm and reassure him. And eventually he calmed down, and I left the bedside and went over to the nurse's station, which was about 15 feet away. As I sat down, I glanced over to him, and there was a black shape standing over the bed, looking down at the patient. I was terrified, and I'm sure it was something evil. Ugh. So you better be good, for goodness sake. Yikes. Isn't that horrible? I mean, just think about that. Whatever your belief system is, what if it's like that, though? Like if you're a crappy person, and I think most crappy people know that they're crappy people, they just don't care. But you live a life of being a crappy person, and then you get there. You're at that moment, that teetering point where it's like, okay, now on to eternity. What's that like? And you're starting to see things that you couldn't see before because you're passing, and then you see that shadow. It's like, oh God. I don't know how it works, but you better find some Jesus in a hurry. I mean, I don't know. And I'm not advocating you have to believe one thing or the other. That's a figure of speech, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, get right with God in a hurry, because, man, I can't think of a worse feeling than, well, here comes eternity. Oh, God, you know. All right, we're going to read one more, and then we'll get to some cryptids. Oh, maybe we won't read one more. What was this one? Unexplained black shape. How long is this one? No, that's not too long. No, let's go to the cryptids. Let's save this for next Friday. We'll read more on Friday. Wouldn't the evil be welcome in that place? Well, not if it's a place of torment for the evil. It's not a vacation. It was death. You could be right, Tom. Could be death. Maybe that's what the shadowy shape was. Some people claim there's reapers. They bring people over. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to think, I guess. You know, I guess eventually we'll all find out. So that's the one certainty. You can definitely count on it. We're all going to find out eventually. All right. So we're going to start the next part of the journey with some Sasquatch Chronicles, ladies and gentlemen. Because we love the cryptids, and it's time to dive into the cryptids. So let's do that right now. As I cue it up, here we go. Oh, nice. Nice. Thank you, Maggie. I appreciate you pointing that out. Ladies and gentlemen, we owe Nocturnal Frequency Radio an applause. He remembered. Thank you so much. That's outstanding. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing. You guys, I don't deserve you guys. That's for sure. But I'm sure as hell glad you're here. Thank you. Please bring others. I don't love cryptids. Tattoo Alley does not love cryptids. Really? I think they're fascinating. I think it's fascinating. Well, I mean, I don't know what you mean by that. Like, yeah, I don't think I'll be taking one to dinner or nothing, you know, or trying to get them know them better. But I think it's fascinating. The whole idea that we're surrounded by potentially catalogs of creatures that aren't supposed to be here, you know. So thank you, Nocturnal Frequency Radio. That was 2, Brent. What? What was 2? I don't know what I'm saying. People sometimes talk to relatives of the past before. Yes, you're right, Karen. That's true. A lot of people do report their loved ones that are passing, seeing like a husband that preceded them in death, having conversations with sisters or brothers that have gone on before them, parents. And it's a beautiful thing. That really is a beautiful thing. All right. Bigfoot might want to know you. Well, that's true. That's a good point. He's just been waiting to be found, after all. The audio clip on the latest Sasquatch Chronicles episode is super interesting. Yeah, I listened to it. I didn't put on headphones, though, so I didn't hear the potential murmuring, but I did listen to the episode. It was very, very cool. Must have been a lot of editing on Wes's part, because he, you know, that's ex-married people. And he interviewed both of them, and he spliced it together like as if they were in the same room. And I was like, wow, that's some ambition right there. But my hat's off to him. He did an amazing job piecing that all together. But it was a good episode. We need a scary Bigfoot movie set in colonial times. Yeah, just like Prey. Kind of like that Prey movie with the Predator, except make it a Bigfoot. So it'd be like Boggy Creek, except in the 1800s or 1700s. Ooh, that would kind of be good. You're right. That could be really good. All right. All right, let's get to some cryptids here. This is SasquatchChronicles.com. This is the blog, ladies and gentlemen. And again, if you're not checking this out, Maggie's going to cook. All right. Thank you, Maggie. Love you. Thanks for being here. And good luck. Hope dinner turns out good. We're going to get to the blog, and this is a listener email. I got a few of them pulled up. We'll do a couple tonight, and then we'll do maybe another one on Friday. We'll see what we end up with. Whenever Wes gets them, he posts them. So I always love leading off the cryptids with these because I think they're fascinating. But strange vocals around my property is this one from April 15th. Definitely check out the blog, though, because if you're not, you're missing a whole lot of information and links and stories that Wes posts. So some great information. A listener writes, I live in a small town in New Hampshire, and the what is that? Monadnock region. I'd never heard of that. The Monadnock region. Okay. This area is pretty rural and hilly/mountainous. We moved to Lindenborough from a city in Massachusetts. A year or so after we moved in, I had woken up to a whoop sound very early in the morning at around 2 or 3 a.m. It was summertime and my windows were open. This whoop was distinct and very similar to the Sierra sounds. I thought about waking my wife, but it stopped after a couple of times and I just went back to bed. Well, several years later, I was outside splitting wood for my wood stove with my dog. I split a few, and then after the last one, I heard a loud crack coming from across the street. Well, this didn't sound like a tree popping in the cold weather. I looked at my dog, and he was looking in the same direction where the wood knock came from. Since this was different, I got a weird feeling and went inside with my dog. And during that time, I feel I may have had a lot of experiences and am not sure if it was just my imagination. Well, around the same time, I distinctly remember walking into my house and hearing someone whispering. It was very rapid and sounded like gibberish being whispered. However, the only way I can describe it is that the whisper sounded very powerful but stayed quiet, if that makes sense. Well, I found a structure in my woods behind my house and thought that the kids had placed it there before we had moved in. The structure was almost like a lean-to, but I felt it was just big enough for me to fit in while laying down, and I'm not a big guy. I only mention this because I've seen a similar thing on some of the documentaries that I've watched on it. Another weird thing that happened was I was walking around my beaver pond back to my house after coming out of the woods, and I then heard something extremely heavy take about 2 steps about 100 yards from me across the beaver pond. My first reaction was that it was a moose, so I crouched down because I wanted to see it. I waited several minutes and didn't hear anything else. I didn't want to go check it out further because I was worried about it being a cow moose with a calf and didn't want to get stomped to death. And as I thought about this more, I didn't think that it sounded like an animal with 4 legs. It sounded like something with very large feet that was very heavily crashing multiple sticks, and only 2 steps kind of threw me off. Well, later that summer, I remember I was mowing my lawn, and I looked up and saw a dead birch tree violently swinging so much that I remember pieces of that tree falling down. Well, it was dead, but I was unsure why it would be swinging back and forth like that. This past winter, I was headed outside, and across the same beaver pond, I heard a very loud and distinct tree knock. I've spoken with several people about this and seem to just get blown off, and I'm curious if there are other sightings or experiences in my area. I'm not a person that tells lies or blows things out of proportion, but I've had some interesting things happen. I've never seen anything and have not seen any footprints either. I am a police officer in town, and I know I do have the respect of the town, which is not too common nowadays. And I'm also a firefighter in Massachusetts, and I'm really just curious if this is common for this area. This all may be my mind playing tricks on me, or just an overactive imagination. Sorry, I was having trouble making that word. Overactive imagination. I do have a guy in town who is a very experienced woodsman, and he told me a story about him going hunting several years ago, not too far from my house. When he went into the woods, he heard something large running away from him. Oh, Flip Dizzies, God bless you. God bless you. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's pretty wild. I don't know. Here's the thing, though. I don't think that there's many places where these things aren't. I think it would be quicker to say where they're not rather than where they are. And I don't pretend to know how many are out there. Like, I don't know. Could be hundreds of thousands. Could be 10,000. It's hard to say. I think that they probably have a pretty pronounced range that they circle around or circuit throughout their years, where different resources are. Like there might be a high range that they go, in the warmer months, and there might be a lower range, or they might be following game up and down elevations, to keep themselves fed. And then there's the growing seasons, like certain berries are in season certain times. And I think they just have a huge range, and they know where to be at different times of the year to take advantage of those things, because the caloric needs have got to be pretty huge. Now, I think it doesn't matter if this thing is also woo or not, because it is at least part of the time very physical. And where you fall on the whole, oh, they phase, they're multidimensional, they're extraterrestrial, wherever, you could be right. And I can't argue either for or against it. There just isn't enough information. But at the same time, if they're a living, breathing creature, they would need calories. They would need to be able to, take in energy to burn. Because they're not just an energetic being. They're not just a spirit. They are, at least part of the time, they're physical. And maybe all the time. Again, you believe what you want. But that if they are as big as they are supposed to be, which is, 8, 9, 10 feet, that is a huge caloric need. Much akin to a grizzly bear, a full-grown grizzly. And how big their ranges are. I think that probably Sasquatch have similar range sizes, a few hundred miles, in diameter that they may cycle throughout their year. So, I don't know that they're always one place or another place. I think they just might cycle through a lot of different areas. I mean, if let's say there's only tens of thousands, but they have these huge, several 100-mile ranges. Well, they could be seen in a lot of areas around different times of the year. So, anyway, just some thoughts. You believe what you want, but we are multidimensional. So if they are too, it makes sense. Sure, I think that's probably one of the reasons we dream, is because we're probably experiencing, at least in some cases, some of our multidimensional reality. But anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. I end up snowballing quite a bit. Sorry about that. So where are we at? 34. Yeah, we'll read one more from Sasquatch Chronicles, and then we'll get to Phantoms and Monsters, because Lon's got a whole new batch of fun just waiting for us, ladies and gentlemen. Lon Strickler is just an incredible guy. He's busy all the time over there on his site as well. So, God, I got an itchy behind my knee there. All right, here we go. This one's from April 15th. This is yesterday old. So let's check this one out from Sasquatch Chronicles blog, the blog. Here it is, April 15th. The female stood looking directly at me. Well, listener writes, in 1987, when I was 15 years old, and on my way home one late night, or early morning on my moped, and one stepped into the road right in front of me and stopped directly in front of me, and I almost hit him. I was so close to him, I could have touched him. And from the first to the last, my latest sighting. And from the first to the last, my latest sighting. I don't know what that last part means. Maybe I'm missing it. It's just over my head. I saw a family being a large male, and the sentences are really oddly written, so I'm sorry about this. I saw a family being a large male and female who was just a foot shorter than the male, and she was carrying a little one. And it was less than a mile from my home, and they had glowing red eyes, and the little one had glowing white eyes. Well, they crossed the road in front of me and then stopped on the side of the road when the female stood looking directly at me. I didn't notice the little one until he turned his head and looked directly at me. The big guy stood with his head up, looking at me from the corner of his eyes, not looking directly at me like the others. And multiple encounters in between those two, face-to-face encounters. I did start leaving them treats, and now I get knocks on my window. And one time, one of them whistled through my dog door, causing me to go into a panic. At least that's what I believe. It'd be great to get these off my chest because I have no one to talk to about them. My family would be the last I would tell or talk to about any of it. My mother used to make fun of me because when I was younger, I had a stutter. Oh, God, sounds like a wonderful parent. What the hell? Who the hell would sit and make fun of their own kid's stutter? It's like, are you trying to break a person? Yeah. So I hope to hear from you. This subject has taken over a large part of my life because I'm looking for answers like everyone else. Interesting. I would say, again, this is a cautionary statement, but I think there's a lot to be aware of. I think I think we like to feed wildlife. We like to leave little treats for the squirrels and birds and stuff. And certainly if you find out you got Sasquatch around, you may be kind of prone to, well, let's leave something out. Let them know that we're not dicks. And that's great, all fine and dandy. But for what it's worth, and this is not me talking, this is a whole lot of different people that I've talked to through the years. One of the big ones is Bear from Bigfoot Outlaws. He said, look, we don't know anything about their physiology and stuff. And so, you get people leaving things like cake out and stuff. And what if there's an allergy that they wouldn't possibly know because of their diet, but then they go into eating our very processed foods, and what kind of ramifications could that have on them? And my take on that too is they also don't have dental care. They don't have toothbrushes. And so you're giving them these complex sugars and stuff like candy bars. You could be creating a horrible, horrible situation for one of these or many of them. Leaving out sweet treats like candy bars and stuff. Well, it's not like they're going to be brushing and flossing and cleaning it up later. Those sugars are going to sit on their teeth and eat through their enamel. Could get an infection and abscess, cause them not to be able to eat, and then they'll die. And so your desire to leave sweet treats and stuff for these beings has been a death sentence. So please, if you're going to leave food items, make sure it's just like apples, things like that. Things that they're known to eat regularly. And obviously their bodies can handle. Vegetables, of course, they've been known to raid gardens. But don't leave candies and sugars and cakes and ho-hos and ding-dongs and crap like that, because we have no idea. And then what do you do? You get a diabetic Bigfoot suddenly that can't process sugars. And it's like, just feed them natural things if you're going to feed them all. Now, the second part of the warning. If you do end up starting to habituate them and they start to rely on that and you don't do it, you got to be ready to face the piper on that one, because allegedly they throw horrible tantrums. horrible tantrums when their treats aren't out. Like there's one story where the guy had goats and he ended up being an old guy. He had a bunch of goats and stuff and would leave out treats for the Bigfoot and got to, know that they were around and lived peacefully around them until he got so old he had to go get taken to the hospital. He was in the hospital admitted for some kind of surgery or something. He wasn't there. When he did return home, he had a field of dead goats. His goats were all killed. Like they were furious. Now, why they didn't eat them, I don't know. Maybe they don't like goats. I don't know. But that's the story. Is it true? Well, it was told to me as truth. I don't know. I wasn't there. But it's certainly worth considering. If you're gonna create a dependency, you've got to make sure that you can always do that. And if not you, someone does it for you. Because if you don't, they've been known to throw huge tantrums. Dangerous tantrums. So, I don't know. Just things to think about, because it's not just as simple as, oh, I got some leftover chicken. Let's leave it out for the fox or something like that. I used to do that. That's fine. I don't think the fox ever became dependent upon me, but it was fun. But then again, if I didn't leave out chicken, he wasn't going to roll my car or something either. So just words of wisdom for whatever that's worth. So let's do this. Go back to this camera. Excuse me. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that right in your ears, but I did. All right, we're going to go to this one. This is Phantoms and Monsters, as I mentioned. This is Lon Strickler's site, and Lon does an amazing job. He's really been a pillar in this community for decades, and he's constantly updating this site, phantomsandmonsters.com. And you'll find new entries every day, several times a day. A lot of different topics and things to look for. But if you're interested in this stuff, and I take it that you are because you're here, check out phantomsandmonsters.com. You can literally peruse encounter reports, thousands of them. There's literally that many in his catalog of stories that he's collected. Some reported directly to them, some he's aggregated from other sources, but just fantastic. Now, additionally, Lon is a published author, and you can find information about his published works. Very knowledgeable guy, and his books, I'm sure, are exceptional. And you can find out information about those on his site. You can find out about their research efforts going into like Bigfoot, Dogman, and Mothman phenomena from the Greater Lakes region, the Great Lakes region in Illinois and stuff. There's been a lot of claims. Well, they've been researching that pretty accurately. And you can find Lon's podcast, which is Phantoms and Monsters Radio, which is also a YouTube channel. Now, his YouTube and his podcast are the same. So if you catch one, you're catching both. But you can listen to the audio anywhere, or you can head over to YouTube, check out Phantoms and Monsters Radio, and subscribe. Get involved. Lon does his live streams every Friday night at 6 Pacific. I go live at 7, so it works out pretty good. It sounds like a great Friday night, right? So just something to think about. All right, but this is the first article from phantomsandmonsters.com, ladies and gentlemen, and it has to do with the creatures, so let's get to it. I was stalked by an unknown creature in Reed City, Michigan. Any of you guys from Michigan in here? Let me know in the chat if you're from Michigan. What's Chucky? Poopy trails to you. Okay. What's going on with that? All right. Let's check out this I was stalked. It's a great image on the first part here. Some old dark country road. Well, it's not old. It's got pavement and stuff, but it looks pretty creepy. Something followed me for 2 miles on a 2-lane road leading back to the cabin. I walked backwards on that 2-lane for the entire 2 miles with my 9mm Mauser off safety. Lon says, I received the following account. I was once an avid hunter for 20 years, never missing a deer season. Longed for it and lived for it. Well, I'm 71 years old now and started hunting at 18. At the age of 38, I had a terrifying encounter with something after being lost in the woods until 2 a.m. And something followed me for 2 miles on a 2-lane road leading back to the cabin. I walked backwards on that 2-lane for the entire 2 miles with my 9mm Mauser off safety with no light and no moon or stars, listening to heavy footfalls, trees being snapped and loud cracking underbrush under those footfalls, a stench that curled my toes, and a deep guttural breathing, which was absolutely nerve-wracking. The place that I hunted was called Herm's Knob. Sorry, I'm such a kid. Anyway, which was, I hope Herm doesn't mind that, which was 2 miles off 13-mile road where the cabin was, in Reed City, Michigan. And although the cabin is actually closer to Leroy, Michigan, the event repeated itself one night later, only with my partner. After feeling like I was being hunted, that ended my hunting. I have never returned or hunted since. I don't know what it was, and perhaps I'm just better off not knowing. Lon said, here's another account from the same area. Trucker shoots upright canine near Reed City, Michigan. Well, we should probably read that then. Let's do that. We're going to go right over to that one. All right, this one is from July 22nd, 2019. So a few years ago, but that last one was several years ago as well. Okay, let's see what it says. My uncle and I had an encounter in the summer several years back. Only reason I believe him is because his whole life, he's always been super serious. Just a no BS kind of guy. When he told the story, he sounded genuinely upset about it. He's a long-haul trucker and was stopped on the side of the highway in a heavily wooded area. This was somewhere several miles in the middle of nowhere, but he said it was closest to Reed City, Michigan. And I can't recall what he said he was doing, but he had to fix something before he could take off. Also, he didn't have a trailer on at that time. He'd just gotten done fixing up his stuff and was about to climb into his vehicle when he saw a deer come towards him from the tree line, and he said it looked like it might have been running from something. Well, he assumed it must have been a bear. He was just getting ready to leave when he suddenly sees something looking at him through the passenger side window. Well, he described it as having jet black fur and bright yellow eyes, as well as vicious-looking snarling teeth. It was so close to him that he could see its fur blowing with the slight breeze that was coming through. The window was open, but it didn't seem to notice, as was evident when the creature put its paw up to the window as if to press against the window, but pulled back in shock when it realized its paw actually entered the vehicle. My uncle typically carries a gun with him. At this time, he had a heavy revolver. The exact name and caliber is beyond my memory right now. He pointed it at the dogman and pulled the trigger, effectively shooting it directly in the face. Well, finally, the truck started moving fast enough for him to be confident that the thing wasn't following him, should it have survived the shot. He didn't bother waiting around to find out. He said he still gets disturbed when he thinks back to that event. He described it as giving off this aura of pure evil and ill intent in only a few seconds that he faced it. He has nightmares about this creature to this day, and he refused to tell anyone about it until several years after it happened for fear of people thinking that he just lost his mind. Another reason I'm able to buy his story is because he's never been interested in the occult, supernatural, paranormal, cryptids, etc. He had no idea what to make of this thing. I saw him. Make of this thing, I saw him. But when he told me the story, I told him to look into the Dogman. And when he looked online, he said the artist depictions of the Dogman fit perfectly for what he saw that day. That was written by someone named Dez. Okay. Yep, Reed City, Michigan, folks. Got to be careful up there in them peninsulas. Lower or upper? I don't know where Reed City is, but probably sounds like upper. But I don't know. Anybody's guess. Wherever it is, apparently they got some cryptids cooking up there. There's 2 stories from Reed City area. Generally the same timeline. One was when somebody was 38, and now this one was from 2019, didn't it say? Was that when it was? I don't know. It doesn't really say when it was. It's actually a historical figure from his uncle, so could have been around the same time as the other one happened. So how do you like that? Sorry. Just had to go there. But fantastic story. I tell you what. Hey, you guys want to blow a bottle? We haven't done this for a while on the show. Remember the bottle trick? I used to do this more commonly. Afraid Devotee. Oh, cheap viewers on Steamboo. Hey, thanks for the spam, Afraid Devotee. Appreciate your Twitch spam. All right, you want to see it? Here it is. Fun project to do at home. When you're bored, you can have contests. Great for the kids. Kids love this. This is something Minnie and I discovered quite a while ago, but we've been popping bottles forever. Here you go. This is what you do. Take an empty bottle, empty little water bottle, and might have to move my microphone a little bit here. You got to give it a twist. You got to twist it, build up the pressure. Like that. And you keep twisting it. And you keep twisting it. And you twist it until the thing is just about trembling in pressure and it's hard to hold on, which is now. So you can see the top. I don't know if you can see or not, but the top is kind of bulging. It's under so much pressure. I don't even know if that's on right. But then the fun part is we're going to atomize some water. I'm going to move it down here so you can hear it. Let me do this. Give it a little twist. Oh, the cap wasn't on good. Let me see if I can save it. Oh, trying again. I redid the cap. All right, here we go. It's a smaller version. Probably not going to pop as big, but we'll see. You hear that? That's it. The bottle pop. So there you go. You're end with the already compacted piece of recycling and fun for the whole family. So what's not to love? The bottle itself. That's how a diesel engine works. High pressure combustion, I guess. I don't know. I don't know anything about diesel engines or pretty much any engines to be that matter. I know how to put gas in and I know that oil changes happen. Yeah, that's a great sound. That one's not nearly as cool as when I get the big pop. That one got smaller because it leaked and I had to twist it up again. So that was a little higher tone. The other ones are usually boom, like that. They're great. So anyway, there you go. We used to do that with whiskey and inhale the vapor. Jesus, Paul. That's just not what your lungs are for. They're not meant to breathe in alcohol vapor. Atomized alcohol. There you have it. But I don't know. It's just kind of a fun little project. So anyway, that's going to be about the journey for tonight. I hope you guys had fun. Happy dog lady. Night, Brent, and all happy. Hope you find, Brent, hope you find another way to shade your space. Yeah, I'll figure something out. Something will come together, right? What is the old saying? Nothing is ever removed unless there's something waiting to replace it. That must be what it is. It must be time for a new table. I love that table, though. It was pretty cool. I just ended up... and he screams in Scottish. It just ended up... oh, sorry, Mike Cool. I just started reading you. I just ended up stumbling into a hardware store one time, and it was like, how is that going so cheap? And it was basically new owners had just bought out a hardware store in town, and they were just liquidating the old stock, stuff that they wanted to get rid of. And I was like, Yeah, I need a table and chairs for like $70, and they're nice chairs, nice table, and it breaks my heart, but it's just time for an upgrade, I guess. I just know that I'm probably not going to be able to replace that glass because it's actually more expensive to replace the glass than it was to buy the table by like 4 times as much. So I don't think that's the avenue we're going to take. It's unfortunate now because I got this table, but I will look into possibly doing it with tile and a piece of plywood of some kind if I can. It's a very small gap in there though, so I'll have to see. I don't know. We'll see, folks, but at any rate, I don't know. But I appreciate your sentiments anyway. Thanks, Brent. Love the news. Card juice, thank you. I just noticed that over on the Rumble. It's been pretty quiet over there, Brent. Good luck on Spaced Out Radio. That's tomorrow night, folks. Again, I will be appearing with Mr. Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio tomorrow night, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific. So I guess that's 11 Central and midnight Eastern time. So if you're not busy, come hang out with us. You can go to Spaced Out Radio on YouTube and watch the live stream as it's happening. Or I think Dave has a bunch of affiliate stations all over the place where you can figure out if there's one in your region and just tune in if you can only listen. But just some ideas. Paint the edges black like windscreens. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll figure out something. Maybe I'll just get plexiglass. That'd probably be way more expensive, wouldn't it? Never mind. Not doing that. So that's about all I got for you, though, for tonight. So, again, I'll be back Friday nights. I hope you guys will join me. And until then, y'all take care of yourselves. Remember, I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. Remember to share these shows, if you would, please. Share them out on your social media. Just copy the episode link and paste it on your Facebook or whatever. That would be a huge way to help me, just to expose the show to new people that might not have heard it. And I'm not saying the show is going to appeal to everybody, but, maybe there's a bunch of people that would like to be a part of the community. So please do that. But anyway, until then, thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, T-Bone and Smooth Landon. Nice cedar boards for table. Cedar's cheap near you. It's 10 times around here. Oh, yeah, I don't know if I could find something that looks nice. I don't know. I'll be looking for ideas. If you got ideas, email me at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. I don't know. I was thinking of thin plywood along with some tile and grout and just see what I could do. I don't know. It's probably really too ambitious and I'll never get it done, but my heart's in the right place. Thank you to the moderators as well. You're right, Michelle. We got the greatest mods anywhere. So that's going to wrap it up, though. Tomorrow night, Spaced Out Radio with Mr. Dave Scott. So I hope you will tune in and join us then. But that's all I got for you. So just take care of yourselves. I'll be back on Friday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time, right here in the portal. So wherever you're watching now, see you then. And then Saturday as well. So see you those 2 nights. All right. Good night, everybody. That's it. I'm rolling the credits. That's all I got. See ya.